Nate just texted me and said buy movie tickets, and that never happens for tonight. We're gonna have a date night. Oh my gosh, I gotta address this first before filming this video. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a video on my labor and delivery story. I watched so many of these videos in the last few weeks of my pregnancy with my daughter leading up to having her. I've pretty much always been obsessed with hearing people's labor and delivery stories, even like 10 years ago. I used to watch, I don't know if anyone else remembers this show that used to be on TLC called A Baby Story. I think it was TLC, but basically it was like a reality show that followed women throughout the last couple weeks of pregnancy and then showed their labor and delivery. And I was just obsessed with it. I loved it. When I first got into nursing school, I really only wanted to be a labor and delivery nurse. That's all really I had on my radar. But as time progressed and I got near the end of nursing school, I just saw other areas that I liked too. And sometimes labor and delivery can be a hard area to get into, especially a day position. And I was not, I don't think I'm made for a night shift. I think that notion was confirmed with how well I did in the newborn period with no sleep and how angry I got. So yeah, no night shift for me, and I ended up going into cardiac, which I love as well. So I wanted to do a video and talk about my experience, and I think it's really, really cool that every single mother's experience of labor and delivery and postpartum is so different and so unique. And I just think it's really cool to hear the emotions everyone else felt or what it took to get to the end result with L&D and everything that goes into it. So yeah, if you're interested in that, or if you are pregnant and expecting, or you just found yourself in like a YouTube hole and you don't really know how you got here, you can keep watching too. So let's get started. This is so good. I got my iced coffee. I'm good to go. I don't really like what's happening with my hair today, but I need to get my hair done. Everyone knows it. So I was about 38 weeks probably at my appointment when the doctor, she said that Naomi her growing had kind of slowed down. I guess the rate at which they grow had slowed down. She said it really wasn't concerning, but when that happens, they usually just go ahead and take the baby a week or two early, because if there was something wrong, or if there was kind of like a failure to thrive situation and the baby just needed a little bit more monitoring, it's easier to do on the outside rather than when the baby's on the inside. So we scheduled my induction for 39 weeks, pretty much full term, but I obviously didn't get to go all the way to my due date, which I really would have preferred. When she told me that I was getting induced, I kind of started pulling out the tricks and bouncing on an exercise ball, going to the gym, doing stairs. I really wanted to go into labor naturally, and that's something that I still hope that I do next time. Having said that, my labor and delivery experience ended up being amazing, as much as you can hope for that process, and I really don't have any regrets about being induced. I trust my doctor, and I know there's a lot of opinions on all things pregnancy and motherhood and all that, and maybe someone else really kind of would have pushed back a little more. That's just not me. I'm fine. Baby was healthy. Give or take 1 or 2 weeks, does it really matter? I think at that point they're just gaining fat. Hindsight is 2020, because after I delivered Naomi, my daughter, my OB was moving to Boston. She was closing her practice where I live and moving to Boston, moving her practice up there, and I'm pretty sure I was like one of the last people she delivered. So kind of now I think that maybe that had something to influence why she induced me. You know, maybe Naomi was slowing on her growth, but really, you know, she needed to pack some boxes. Let's be real. It is what it is. So my induction was scheduled. I went in, and the way that they started the induction is a Foley bulb induction. So it's basically like a balloon that, oh, I'm not going to do hand motions. I almost did hand motions. They basically put a balloon in your cervix and they inflate it with a little bit of, I guess, sterile water to a certain point, and it kicks the body into labor, and then you'll start dilating on your own. So I don't know. I would love for people to leave in the comments if they've been induced by this balloon catheter thing, and what your experience was with it, because out of the entire, I'm serious, out of the entire labor, delivery, postpartum process, that was the worst. When she put that in and started inflating the balloon, she stopped and she was like, okay, I think that we have enough in there. Your toes are curling. Yeah. It was terrible. It was very painful for just about 30 seconds, and then it was just uncomfortable. And then my body kind of started having contractions. But they only put me on a very, very, very slow rate of Pitocin. It was almost nothing. If I do have to get induced in the future, I think I would rather, I've just heard horror stories about Pitocin and how it's like your contractions and labor like on steroids, like the Hulk. It just makes them like crazy, crazy higher and intensified, and that scares me really bad. So if I had to get induced again in future pregnancies, I would probably just take the balloon catheter again. I'll take 30-40 seconds of pain, and that, rather than just like surging Pitocin through my body. That kind of scares me. I made a Shutterfly book of like all my pregnancy and labor, delivery, and her newborn pictures, and I've put it all in here. I love Shutterfly. I did a honeymoon book. I've done vacation books, this book. I love having it all here, and I feel like Shutterfly is very reasonable with prices versus there are definitely other ones that are not as cost effective. So shout out to Shutterfly. Anyway, so in this book, I'll just kind of show you, I took like weekly bump pictures, did like our gender reveal in there, decorating the nursery, my shower. Anyway, so I just put pretty much everything throughout the pregnancy in here. So when I was in labor, I kept a little note going on my phone of like when they checked me what I was and what time it was, just because I figured that would be fun to have, to tell people, to look back on. And so then I ended up putting that timeline in this book. So I love that I can look and see that, okay, labor started at 6:30 p.m. So this is what the page looks like, and this is where I did the little timeline of everything throughout labor. So 6:30 p.m. the catheter was placed. 9 p.m. They started some low dose Pitocin. 12:45 a.m. the balloon falls out. So I can't remember the exact number. Any labor and delivery nurses out there, just tell me. But I think it was almost like when the balloon falls out on its own, you're automatically like a 4 or 5. You're somewhere. My sister got induced, and we had the same OB, so I don't know if this was like her preferred method, but my sister got the balloon placed as well. I don't know if this is like TMI, but all the girls out there know, like, when you're on your period or there's just like stuff going on all in your reproductive system, it kind of can upset your stomach as well. And my stomach wasn't upset, but I had to go to the bathroom, and so I had to have Nate help me out of bed because it was not easy getting up. And so I went to the bathroom to try and go to the bathroom, and the balloon came out, which didn't feel great. After that thing was out, I was so much more comfortable. They put it to like traction. So like they had the balloon placed inside my cervix, and then on the outside of the body, like this string, they like kind of like tugged a bit so it would like give it some weight, and then taped it to my leg. So anytime I like moved my leg, it would like pull on that. I mean, that was purposeful. They did that for a reason. But every time I would move, it would just be so uncomfortable. So when that came out, great. I was great. I was ready to go. At 1 a.m. they checked me, and I was dilated a 5 and 70% effaced. So from 6:30 to 1, I was pretty much halfway there if you want to think about it that way. My OB allowed me 1 dose of fentanyl IV push for pain meds. So I chose to get that around like 1 or 2 a.m. and I had a very, very weird amount of sleep. I would not say that I like went to sleep, but I was able to just kind of like rest off and on and kind of like doze a bit. But yeah, I don't feel like I really like slept until I got that epidural, which praise, that is the best invention in the world. If you have strong opinions on like natural, you know, labor and delivery and childbirth and no drugs and this and this and that, that's great. Do you? As for me in my house, we will get the epidural. So around 5:30, I really started feeling like the contractions were picking up. And I felt like, I don't know, like in my mind, I wanted to at least labor. Like I wanted to feel like I really labored for a good amount of time before like tapping out, you know? So around 5:30, I was like, okay, like I think that I'll call for the epidural. So I got the epidural around that time. And when they gave me the epidural, they actually increased my Pitocin, which fine by me because I was living large. I was feeling great. After I got my epidural, I did sleep for about, I don't even know, like 2 hours. Maybe that's a little bit generous, but I got real sleep. It was amazing. I felt just great. I felt like I could enjoy the experience, and my labor up to that point hadn't been terrible. So at this point, it's just like, it's going great. My water never broke on its own. So my doctor did have to come in and break my water around 8:20 a.m. I didn't feel a thing, and I was just hanging out, and I would say once I started getting closer to a 9 and 10, I felt so much pressure down in my lower body. I felt like I don't even know how to describe it to you without grossing you out. I did tell my husband, I'm gonna poop this bed. I do specifically remember telling my husband, like, I feel like I'm gonna poop a bowling ball. That's how much pressure I felt. And I don't know if it's that normal to feel that intense amount of pressure even with an epidural. It was verging on painful. It was so intense. And so I kind of started like rocking. I mean, when you just are feeling very, very uncomfortable and some pain and just intense sensations where you can't keep still. At 11 a.m. I was dilated a 9 to 10. I started pushing around 11:40, and my daughter was born at 12:08. So I pushed literally for 28 minutes, I guess that's the right math. I don't know how some women are able, like when I hear some women that say, oh, I pushed for an hour and a half. What? Pushing is the most exhausting thing. And the next day I felt like I'd gotten hit by a Mack truck. My arms were sore, my leg muscles were sore. You're tensing your entire freaking body. And I just don't know how some women are able to sustain that for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, you know, however many stories you hear of these women that have to push forever. I would just be like, call it a day. Right after she was born, we did skin to skin, and I've never experienced that feeling ever in my life. And I think it was, I don't know how you can describe it, just like euphoria. I almost felt like high. And I'm sure that's because I was exhausted and, you know, overwhelmed and emotional, but like it's just like I felt like I was floating for like a good 45 minutes. It was just amazing, and I really loved my labor and delivery experience. I've told so many people this, but I feel like I built up the idea of laboring and having a baby. I built it up in my mind to be so terrible for so many years. I think I was like really scared of it and everything that goes along with it. And I think I built it up so bad in my mind. When it wasn't that bad, I was just really pleased and happy, and in a very, very strange way, I almost enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to experiencing that again. There's just so much excitement, and it's just the most amazing thing you'll ever go through. So if you're about to go through it, I want to encourage you and tell you that it's not all that bad. I know there's horror stories out there. Focus on you, focus on the whole experience, treasure it, because it's not like it's something that you do every day. Just know and tell yourself that millions of women throughout the dawn of time have done this. And especially now in this age, we have the best medical care and monitoring, and you'll be fine. So that's my pep talk. I really did love my experience, and I hope you guys enjoyed kind of listening through that story. There's a UPS man. Dang it, he passed. I wanted something cool. I thought maybe my husband ordered something. So thank you guys for watching. Oh, he's back. The UPS man drove back again. He's looking for my house. Come back. I clicked on a lot of these, so I know there's people out there that watch these just for fun to hear. So that's why I did it. And hey, I can look back on this one day. If you guys have any suggestions for videos that you would like to see or have me do, I would really like those suggestions. I have a lot of fun doing this. This is a creative outlet for me, something fun. So I'm all about video suggestions. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe and thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.